Okay, now we are discussing same concept, that is nothing but we are implementing peer-to-peer chat application by using uh, TCP socket. Yes, we have seen previous scenario in Java 1. Today we are seeing the same scenario in Python 1. Meanwhile, I want to clear first is nothing but how many events reside at a server side and how many events are residing at a client side. Meanwhile, they are establishing means what they have come up with a TCP protocol. Okay, that's why connection establishment first, then the send of the request, then that is nothing but send of the data, and one of the between two party are want to close the communication by sending one close message. Okay, there is nothing but three-way handshaking must be carried out while you are communicating with each other by adopting TCP socket. Yes, we have discussed that one, and that's why TCP is considered as slowest high bit protocol. Okay, and it is also been considered as the slowest protocol because what that is nothing but it waits two times to send the next data. Okay, or the previous sended data based on the acknowledgement. Okay, so yes, but the TCP protocol is considered as a reliable one because what it cares about his receivers, whether that receiver is receiving that particular data or not, by in the accepting acknowledgement from the receiver one. Okay, if my sender receives positive acknowledgement, then sender will generate next data and that data will be get sent. Okay, meanwhile, if my sender receives negative acknowledgement, then my sender once again resend that previous data to the sender to the receiver one. That is nothing but you are carrying your receiver once. Okay, so that is nothing but the TCP protocol. TCP protocol is nothing but what connection establishment must be get established before you are communicating. Hmm? And after that, after successfully you have established that connection, then you are eligible to send your data from both sides. Okay, but uh, first request must be get generated from the client side. Are you seeing that diagram? There is nothing but after establishing connection, the first request must be get generated from client side. Based on that, my server will accept that request. Okay, that's why I have write the accept code over here. That is accept event must be at a server side. Okay, and then that request will be get processed, and in that whatever the needy information does my client wants from my server, that data will be given in the next hop. Okay, that is nothing but right. Okay, so we will discuss first one on one. That is nothing but what, yes, we have also discussed client and server are going to communicate with each other by using socket. And also we have seen what is meant by socket. Indirectly, socket is nothing but what one IP address first one port. IP address is nothing but identification of that particular machine. Okay, at a client side also you are providing socket, at a server side also you are providing socket. Means what server and client has must have one unique IP. Yes, based on that my routers are enough to find out that particular machine. Now what, yeah, yes, you have reached that particular machine. Now what, you want to communicate with the specific uh, that is a specific process is nothing but what you have opened your uh, Google Chrome and you have opened a n numbers of tab, but you are not wanting to communicate n numbers of tab from one of the between that n numbers of tab you want to communicate. That's why, and whose functionality it is nothing but the functionality of transport layer. By adapting one port number, you are communicating with that particular process. Okay, that is nothing but process to process communication is also been we have seen. Okay, now what, at a server side you are creating a socket, then bind that socket with by listening. Okay, by listening you are listening each time you are in a listening mode, then whatever the request came from client you are accepting that and bind with another socket. Okay, and after that you are supposed to read first, and then after you are supposed to write then. Okay, meanwhile at the client side you are also generating one socket, then trying to connect, okay, with the server one. After successfully establishment was get been between a client and server, then you are supposed to write first message from client to the server one in the forms of request, and after that you must have to receive that data, means what, read that whatever data which came from the respected server one. Okay, so this is all about this diagram now. Okay, so that's why I want to show first server program. Okay, so yes, I am relating this program with this concepts. Okay, so what you have import, you have to import that socket. Yes, we have also explained why to import socket. Okay, for creation of socket you have to must pass one port number and one IP. Now my both programs are on my same machine, that's why I am passing localhost. Meanwhile, if you want to communicate with a remote machine one, so you have to pass IP address of server machine. Okay, in a client program and as well as in a server program as well. Okay, so now that's it for the localhost. Now what you have to create a socket. Socket is nothing but what? Socket dot socket. Socket is a predefined class which comes in that socket one. Okay, socket dot socket, in that opening closing bracket, in that you have to pass socket dot af underscore inet. Af underscore inet is nothing but which kind of a IP address you are preferring. That is nothing but I am preferring IPv4. That's why I am have passed af underscore inet. Then socket dot sock stream. Now sock stream, sock underscore stream is the identification, is nothing but what? I am using TCP socket. This is the identification of the socket, is nothing but the TCP socket. Based on this, you are going to see is nothing but the socket is nothing but TCP socket you are preferring. Okay, so that's enough for now. Is nothing but server socket. Server socket is equal to, in Java we have seen server socket S is equal to SS is equal to new server socket, in that you have passed one port number. But in this program the criteria is different one. Means what? That nothing but socket dot socket, in that socket dot AF is nothing but type of IP address. That is nothing but I am using IPv4. And then socket dot sock stream is, and a sock stream is nothing but which kind of a socket you are preferring, that is TCP socket. Okay, then what? SS dot bind. Okay, after creation of socket you are trying to bind. Okay, SS dot bind, which nothing but this IP address and this port. Firstly you are binding with that server socket. Okay, creation of socket, then binding one IP address and one port to that particular socket, and that must have to pass. Okay, after that what? Server socket must be in a listen mode, and then you have to pass some values. It based on you, it is not supposed to fire you one, but at least one value must you have to provide. Okay, so what? That is nothing but I have passed ss dot listen. Okay, so it is predefined by the way. Okay, that is nothing but you must have to pass int value in that listen function. Okay, so what? And that listen also be been a predefined class which comes in the socket. Okay, so what? After that what you are trying to think but accepting. So who is going to accept? Server socket is going to be accept your request. So ss dot accept whatever the address you are concatenating with con. That is, this is nothing but new socket you can say, because what? If you are seeing in a detail, that is nothing but you are receiving information from that newly created socket con, and also you are trying to send your data, that is sent by using that con. Are you seeing that? This is nothing but newly created socket by whom? By server one. Okay, so yes, now you are in the phase of connection establishment. Okay, suppose so, that is while true. Okay, in that at a server side, what is after that successful connection, you are in the mode of read one. Okay, means what? You are getting some input from the client machine one, so I must have to receive first. But who is going to receive is nothing but what? Con is nothing but socket dot recv, that is receive, and it is nothing but you have to pass size of your receiving memory. Okay, that is nothing but size of your memory. Now that must be in the multiplication of 1024. Okay, that must be in the multiplication of 1024. Okay, that is kilobyte you can say. Okay, that is nothing but what? 2 kilobyte I have passed. Okay, hope so. Okay, so what? After that you are just printing whatever the message you have received, that is the commitment of client one. So print client, and whatever the message you have received, just display that one, means concatenate that one, that message will be get displayed. Okay, over here. Then after what? After some time you have supposed to write some information. Okay, in that also I am just uh, checking that if that message is a by, if that message is equal to by, then I am just server socket nothing but close, server socket dot close, and then break, and then while loop is nothing but get ended, and after that print connection termination will be occur in my terminate. Okay, now what if that message is not by, then you are continuing the same loop. Now you have supposed to write that message, you have supposed to write that message. So you have taking your message from your console one, that is raw input. In that whatever the data you are typing, that will be taken and considered and stored as a message. Okay, now that message must have to be get sent from your server one. Okay, so what is nothing but con, that is socket dot which method, send, and pass that message that you want to send. Okay, and also I am checking if that message is equal to by. At that time I am also closing my own socket, that is socket dot close and then break. After that also after the ending this while true loop, I am getting back and printing connection terminated. I hope so you have cleared this scenario. Now we are seeing client client program. Okay, so I will just shuffle my position to here. Okay, so what client is also being creating his own socket. So firstly you have to import that socket. Okay, then also you have to provide these two parameter, that is server IP and server host. Server IP is nothing but what, now I am passed a local host because both program are on same machine, that's why I have passed a local host. Meanwhile you also have to pass port number, but the same port number that I have already been written in my server program, that is 5606. Are you seeing that 5606? Okay, so after that is nothing but you are trying to create a socket. How to create socket is nothing but client socket is equal to, that is CS is equal to socket dot socket in bracket. You have to pass socket dot AF inet, that is nothing but which kind of IP address you are preferring, then which kind of a socket that you are preferring, that is socket dot sock underscore stream, and the sock underscore stream is the indication is nothing but you are using TCP socket and by preferring IPv4 kind like of addresses. Okay, so that is nothing but you have created socket. Now what, after connect, that is nothing but you are trying to connect. Okay, that's why who is going to connect, client socket is trying to get connect, that is client socket dot connect with whom, with whom is nothing but server IP and server host, and you have declared the server IP is nothing but IP address of your server machine, and server host is nothing but port of your server machine. Okay, based on this basic fundamental information, that client socket generate request and send that request to a server program. Server program just accept that one ss dot accept, and that whatever the address you are just binding to with one newly created socket, that is con, and further communication is going to be happen with that con. Okay, yes, we have seen that. Now what, I am elaborating my client program. Now you are in the, after you are satisfyingly connected with each other, that is connection get established among client and server. You are not talking about establishing a connection. Now you are in the process of sending a data and receiving a data. It is a bidirectional array I have shown, but the first request must be generated from client and must be sent from client to the server machine, and based on that server he just accepting that your request, and at the same time he is creating new socket, and based on that socket further communication going to be held at the server side. Okay, that's why I have also cleared that concept is nothing but who is going to be run at a first glance, and then whom turn it is. Means what, there are two scenario, one is nothing but compile run scenario, second one is nothing but what, message sending scenario. So compile run must be firstly you have to compile and run the server program, because server has supposed as an active member, because he must have to deliver data whenever the request comes from any client. That's why, and server don't know at which time my client is sending request, that's why server must be a active one. Means what, compile and run of server program must be get done first, and then you have to run your client program, and client comes on a passive mode. Means what, whenever they want some data they are trying to connect with the server. Okay, so that's why in a compile run scenario you have to compile and run server program first, then you have to compile and run client program. Now what the second is nothing but who is going to send first request. The request must be generated at a client side, and that will be get sent from client to a server. Okay, so please keep do in your mind. Okay, do not forget these things. Okay, so what now you have successfully established a connection, then you are entered in a while true loop. Okay, that is nothing but you are now in the mode of sharing a data, and data must, that is request must be get generated firstly at the client side and been get sent from client to server one. Okay, now what message is equal to, you are typing, you are supposed to type your message, and you are taking that data from your console. Okay, that is nothing but raw input. Whatever the data you have put it over here will be get accepted and assigned to a message. Now that message you want to send, so you have, and that whole acceptance and delivery of your message must be gone through or accept through from your socket at respected sockets. Okay, so the client socket dot which method that you have to prefer for sending message, that is send, and pass that message. Okay, now I am checking that message. If I have write by one, that is if message equal to by, then I am closing my socket over here and it will get break this loop, and after that just printing connection terminated. Now what if that message is not equal to by, there is nothing but a genuine message that you want to send. Okay, then that was nothing but what, get send, that message will be get send. Okay, that message will be get sent from here. Okay, now it's whose turn is nothing but what, it's server terms. Okay, server term is nothing but what, now he has to first receive, that's why I have written code, that is who is going to receive, newly created socket con dot receive, that this is nothing but size of memory you have preferred, that message will be get dropped over that memory, then received from your socket, and ultimately this is nothing but your message. That message just you have to printing that, if that that is nothing but client says this message. Okay, and also further checking if that message equal to by, then close that one. If it is not by, now it is a server turns to send the create some message and send that message, because it is a chat application that we want to build. So now you have, that is nothing but you are writing your message from your console, that's why I have written a raw input, raw underscore input, then you, that is nothing but you are typing. So and that message will be get attached it to message or assigned to message one, and now you have to send that message. So that message also been get sent from server socket, that is newly created server socket, nothing but con, and which method you are preparing, dot send, and you have to pass that message. Okay, that message will be get passed from that particular socket at from server to the client socket one. Okay, and now also I am checking if that message equal to by, I am same time I am just closing my socket and just get out from this while loop and printing connection terminated. Now you have sended the data, that is con dot send. Suppose that if that message is not a by, so that message will be get sent. Now what, which that is nothing but now you are supposed to be here. Now your client socket is going to be received, that is client socket dot receive method, and you have to also give the size of memory. So in that message will be get dropped and get received by your socket, and ultimately this is nothing but your message. Just so print that, that is server says this message, that is message. Yeah, and you also checking if that message into by is equal to by, then socket dot close break, you are just out of the true while true loop, and then printing connection dot connection terminated. Okay, so should we run this program right now? So you have to take two terminals. Okay, first terminal and then second terminal. Okay, so I have take two terminals. Now this is the two terminals. Okay, and firstly I am running which program, that is nothing but python server.tcp. okay, now there is no any error, but blinking the cursor means what, my program was successfully get compiled and get run on a running position. Okay, now I am running my client program, that is python client dot client underscore tcp python. Okay, now yes, successfully compiled and run as well. Okay, so now the first uh, turn is of your client one. Client has to send first message. And which program have firstly compiled and run? That is server one. And then second one I have tried to run and compile and run client program. But firstly I am dropping message from client to the server one. So I have supposed to write something over here. Okay, I am writing hello. Now that hello will be get displayed over here, and that is client saying hello. Now its server turns to write something. How are you? Okay, so how are you was also been get received by my receiver, and that is saying server says this, how are you? Then I am saying fine. Okay, and that will be get displayed over here also. Okay, then I have supposed to now bye. Okay, so that connection was get terminated at both side, and that is the successfully you have done chat application by adopting TCP socket. You have done peer-to-peer chat application. There is nothing but simplest program in a Python. Okay.